You're listening to Career Compass with Patrick and Cha-Cha on Base 101.1 FM.
Time for us to get into what is happening in the office space. If you have a job, you don't have a job, this show is for you. My name is Cha-Cha. You can call me the Happy Fairy. I've got the almighty HR with him. I said with him, with me, Pato, Patiriki, or more. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I was waiting for you.
I never seen anyone who waits for the applause like you. One of a kind indeed. Welcome to Career Compass. Let's talk about what's happening in the office space. We're talking today about upskilling, reskilling, staying relevant in a rapidly changing world, and basic practical strategies for a lifelong learning. So, in a world where skills expire fast, the key apparently to staying relevant is never stopping to learn. Now, some people feel like once you're in business, you know it all. You can always just, they like to do things as it's always been. Now, what would we say, instead of using big words and big grammar, what is the difference between upskilling and reskilling?
All right. I really love your introduction to this topic. Is it Justin Trudeau? He said the pace of change is so fast, has been so fast ever since COVID. But guess what? It will never again be this slow. So that means if you think change is happening at a fast pace right now, just buckle up. The rate of change will never be this slow again. So back to your question, right? Difference between upskilling and reskilling. Upskilling is, you're basically improving your skill sets in your current job, your current career path, your current industry, right? It's basically helping you to advance, to take on more advanced responsibilities. But reskilling, on the other hand, means, you're learning an entirely different skill set. So, for example, Cha-Cha, you're an OAP, right? So you're learning skills within your job or your job family. That's upskilling, right? Reskilling means you learn, let's see, you're learning acting or something, an entirely different skill set, for an entirely different career,
right?
Entirely different profession, an entirely different industry.
Why does it even matter? Like, why should we have to deal with these things?
Okay, so just like you said, the reason why I said like you said, the pace of change, jobs are evolving, jobs are changing, jobs are getting extinct, some jobs are disappearing. All right, look at over the past 5 years, for example, the new jobs that are coming in the block. Let me surprise you. Do you know that? So I'm not looking for a job, but it's my it's my industry, right? So I go out there and look at what the market, just a market outlook on the labor market. And I saw an interesting job recently. Igbo AI instructor. That's, you speak Igbo. So job, they are paying good top dollar for that matter, for someone to teach AI Igbo language.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've seen interesting jobs, that you'd be like, wow, are you serious? And, speaking of AI, AI is the new kid on the block, and AI is learning. So imagine the best minds. I saw another job, English AI instructor. And the qualifications to be an instructor for English instructor for AI, you need a PhD.
Interesting.
You need a PhD to be able to teach AI English language. So when you have, I know this is not part of the question, but when you have the best minds on earth training AI, it's just like AI is a child right now.
Right.
Very soon, you have AI being the one teaching you Igbo.
I saw the other day where somebody posted, no, it wasn't a post, it's from a court house. Apparently, somebody has taken AI so far that he decided that he wanted to, he needed a lawyer, and then he used AI. The court, the judge sent him out. She was so disrespected. She said, come on, would you, she didn't say come on, but if I were her, I would have shouted, come on, would you get out of here? Now, we see that technology is evolving. Do you think this is one of the reasons why lifelong learning is critical in today's job market?
Yes, so technology is one of the major cases for change. Okay, so we've talked about AI, talked about automation, New tools are coming out each day that transform the way we work. Okay, I'm sure in the next couple of years, the console you're using to work will be different. A new Ebano will come out as I said. So you need to stay current. Job roles, like I said, are changing. There are certain roles that didn't exist 5 years ago. There are certain roles that used to exist, 5 years ago that no longer exist. All right. Employers, they value employees that are adaptable. Okay, so companies keep on looking for people that can grow with the pace of keep up with the pace of change. And I'd say this: career paths are no longer linear. Like I said last week, I said there's no longer a job for life. You have a lifetime of jobs. All right, so that traditional job for life model doesn't exist. People switch careers. They switch careers multiple times. Let me put you on the spot. Chacha, I know the job you were doing 5 years ago. I've done your history. I've checked you out. 5 years ago, what were you doing?
First of all, 5 years ago, I was a radio presenter. Let's talk about 2 years before the 5 years ago. Let's talk about I was in politics. Somewhat in politics. A year before that, I was in hospitality. A year 2 years before that, I was, I think, on TV.
On TV,
or I was doing PR, one of them ones, yeah.
So, you have had like different lifetimes.
I've had different lives.
Different lives, And you know what, I'm not saying, but who can predict in the next 5 years if you're still going to be doing what you're doing now? True. I mean, for those that don't know, okay, yeah, before I hired you, even after I hired you, we're still looking for OAPs. So there's somebody I knew who's a popular OAP. I won't call her name. And I reached out to her. I was like, hey, hiring for an OAP. Are you interested? And she was like, oh, Patrick, I stopped doing radio. I stopped doing radio about 3-4 years ago. I'm not interested in going back to radio. I'm done with radio. And this was a career OAP. I mean, worked with some of the big names. So a career OAP said they don't do radio anymore. I mean,
what are you doing now? Something different.
I mean, she's doing some great things right now, but obviously she's transcended radio. All right. So by the grace of God, you transcend,
of course,
you grow. That's growth. So, you're going to have more lifetimes.
I say, look, I know.
Yes,
in the next 2 years,
in the next years, you're going
different.
to have more lifetimes ahead of you. So what I mean is continuous learning is the key. Your current skill sets will not take you to the next lifetime. So you need the skill sets that will bring you, keep you relevant, keep you confident, and help you keep up with the pace of change.
Good morning, Lagos. Still rocking the airwaves. Let's talk about careers. Big question. How can professionals actually build a personal learning roadmap? I mean, what do we need to do?
All right. Yes. So we've established that we need to keep learning, right? We don't wait for life to happen. If you're not learning, you'll soon find out that you're a dinosaur, and your current knowledge, will belong in a museum anytime soon. Once upon a time, they said, what you learned in university, the knowledge you acquired in university expires how many years? 4 years later?
I don't know.
Okay, but right now, in fact, you just finished bagging a master's or PhD 2 days later, right? The knowledge you acquired in your master's is almost obsolete. And if you schooled in Nigeria, as they are teaching you, what they are teaching you is even obsolete.
Yes, quite.
So, in order to keep up, right, to build that personal learning roadmap, the things you need to do, first of all, what do you want to learn? What's your career vision? Okay, it all starts with that. Then, so when you know what the tomorrow is, you assess what today is. So what's the current skill set? What's the skill set you have now? All right. Then you now identify the gaps. So between where you are now and where you want to be, what knowledge gaps exist? Okay. Then you now need a learning goals. Okay. So let's say you're an OAP, Chacha is an OAP, and she's realized that tech is the new gold. So she wants to start a lifetime in tech, okay? Because she's won so many hats in her career. She now wants to take up a hat in tech, right? So she looks at her current skill sets and then looks at skill sets required. So maybe you need to learn Python programming or whatever, Then you now need to make those goals. Okay, take a course. Is it online, virtual? Can you afford it? Devote the time. Okay, choose the right method of learning. and then you start applying. So knowledge sticks when you use it. So if you learn how to drive, for example, or you learn how to fly a plane, and you don't put in the hours flying the plane, that knowledge, it's like you use it or lose it.
Right.
That's what happens to knowledge. Then you keep on tracking progress and staying flexible and curious.
I mean, while we talk about lifelong learning, how we need to update ourselves and our lives, but of course, this is the human nature. There's obviously certain barriers, things that can stop us from learning. But how can we overcome such things?
All right, so you know what they say, adult education is not easy. Learning as an adult, with all the other responsibilities in life, it's an uphill climb compared to if I knew this, back then in school, I would have read all the whole books I needed to read, knowing that adult education will not be easy at all. So yeah, there are many things that make learning as an adult, quite an uphill task, and one of them is time. We cannot, we unlike when we're younger, we didn't have any other care in the world. So book was our job. Going to school was our full-time job. So we have other things, other life responsibilities that are competing for our time. So devoting that time, weekends that you're supposed to turn it up, groove, owambe,
you don't use it to be reading books.
You use it to start reading books. So rather than, I'll borrow from this example. You want to eat an elephant, how do you do it? You break it into small bits. So that's where bite-sized micro-learning comes to play. So use micro-learnings. You look at, instead of trying to finish a whole course at once, devoting your entire weekend, just 2 hours a day, 45 minutes a day, would help you in the long run. All right, schedule this learning into bite-sized formats. Okay,
right.
Chewable bite sizes. Okay, cost. Knowledge is expensive. But like they said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. So
you enter pit.
So yes, as adults, okay, now that we're adults, you should spend your money on something. At the end of the day, you might as well keep a budget aside for your personal development.
Right.
Okay, don't wait for your company. Have your own personal budget to improve on yourself. Motivation. Okay, sometimes you get discouraged. I remember when I was taking a course, after spending time and money, I didn't pass.
Wow, I was expecting that.
Yes, I didn't pass, and it wasn't funny. My motivation went down the drain. Okay, and I won't lie to you, that was the end of that course for me. I don't know. I'm not used to taking failure, like that. I wish I had an accountability partner at that time who would have pulled me back up. All right, and I said, you know what, Patrick, go for round 2 at this. Okay, I paid top dollar for that course. After putting in the time and effort, and I failed, and it was demoralizing for me as a person. And I wish I had somebody to push me back, throw me back in the ring.
Right.
So yeah, and then it can be overwhelming. So just focus on one skill set at a time. There's so much to learn, but your head can only take one at a time. So just pace yourself.
Right. Now, some people feel like, I know you mentioned earlier that don't wait for people to sponsor, but do you think that organizations should be in charge of supporting employee upskilling and reskilling? I mean, if I were employed to do a certain job, I don't know if I will be thinking about updating my skills myself. I would think that let me just do enough with what I have to get what I need. Do you think that companies should start to, help out with this? And the companies often think that let me not teach this person, and tomorrow the person goes to a bigger place.
So yeah, that's a major concern. And when people air that kind of concerns to me, what I simply say is yes. What happens if you train people and they leave, right? Richard Branson answered that question when he said, "What happens if you don't train them and they stay?"
Right.
So it's a
win-win dicey situation.
Yeah, you're caught between, a rock and a hard place. So you have to choose which problem you prefer. You wondering, okay, you train them, they go. What if you don't train them and they keep their ignorance
and they still
and
stay?
They stay. So yeah, so yes, I think companies should invest, but I would say this: the ultimate responsibility for your learning is in your hands. Okay, so you have to take full responsibility for it. If your company supports, lucky you, and if it doesn't, it's still your responsibility. So yes, I think companies should provide access to learning platforms and a training budget. That's unnegotiable. I also think companies should encourage internal mobility and cross-functional projects. There was a time, I give this practical example. A cleaner, actually, when he's done cleaning in the morning, he used to join the R&A team. That's the refrigeration and air conditioning team. When they go out, he forced himself to apprentice with them, and he did that for a year. He will go out with them, help them carry their tools, and he kept on watching and learning. And within a year, he had acquired the R&A skills he learned on the job.
Right.
And then once there was a vacancy in the R&A team, guess what? The R&A team requested to HR that they wanted him to come fill the role. Another person started out as a security guard, and he kept on watching. I've forgotten. There's a department that maintenance. Yes, he kept on going out with the maintenance team when he's on his off shifts. And he did that as well. After a while, it was obvious that was where his heart and interest was. It was easy for us in HR to say, you know what, let's transfer him to that department. So those cross-functional projects are really, really important to help improve learning. Recognize and reward learning efforts. All right. Foster a culture of curiosity and experimentation. This is difficult because experiments are 50-50. They work, they don't. If they don't work out, they could be costly, but really that's where learning happens.
Right.
When people are not afraid of making mistakes, then their curiosity is encouraged. But once they know that there's a punishment for making mistakes, then they kill their curiosity.
I mean, you just mentioned that, give examples of people who decided to upskill and reskill, and it led to something great, led to career advancement and stability. I'd really like you to touch on that a little bit as we move on. Upskilling and reskilling leading to career advancement and stability. That is quite important because that's the main goal about you as a person being better.
Yeah, I mean, look, for adult education, let me tell you the truth. For any kind of education right now to make sense, it must be something that that person perceives to be beneficial to them. So, for example, if I can't just say, Chacha, come and learn Forex. Unless you think Forex is going to benefit. But if I tell you, Chacha, if you learn Forex today, within 6 months you can sack your boss.
I don't learn them yesterday.
You see, instantly your interest will be sparked, right? So interest for an adult is based on benefits, right? So one of the key benefits of upskilling is career advancement. Look, when you upskill, you become more invaluable in your current role. All right, you're better equipped to take on larger and even more senior responsibilities. Okay, you can contribute to initiatives of your company, and you position yourself for promotions. Okay, for example, I remember when I was working in an investment environment, there was somebody who got an MBA in financial engineering. That was a hard to find, difficult to replace skill set. I mean, that it was an intern. He got that MSc, and instantly he was moved to the trading floor. So of course it puts you in a position of advantage because we live in a world where we pay you for what you know, we pay you for what you can do, and what you know and what you can do can only be acquired through knowledge. All right, and then you want to pivot, you want to just like we said, it's a lifetime of career. Your career is a lifetime of different things. You cannot, look at you, Chacha, you were into video, radio, acting.
No, never acted, but I've been in music videos. I've modelling. I've put my feet in, a little bit of politics. I've done hospitality,
Now, is it the same knowledge you used in video that you use for
No,
politics.
it's not. Definitely
Obviously
different.
not. So you had to reskill. You had to unlearn. You had to learn, unlearn,
And relearn.
and relearn in order to fit into your political career. All right. And tomorrow, let's say Chacha decides to
Be a doctor.
You decide to be a doctor. Exactly. What you know currently will definitely not be enough. So you need to relearn. You need to reskill. You need to acquire new knowledge to make that change. And believe you me, many people in the lifespan of their careers would have to, pivot, would have to reskill, would have to make these transitions here and there. And then look, we live in uncertain times. There is no such thing as job security. Any company, once upon a time, even in government jobs, there is no job security because administration can change. A new political party, a new sheriff will come into town one day, and then new agenda, new focus, and life happens. Okay, so the only in this volatile job market, right, having a diverse skill set. Don't be a one-trick pony. Don't be, this is all I can do. So if that is taken off the plate, then there's nothing more you can do. That's a very risky place to be. Okay, so in order to make yourself or insulate yourself from layoffs, industry disruptions, don't tie yourself to one role.
Right.
Don't tie yourself to one skill set. You have to just and then of course look, the more you learn, the more you earn. So your learning increases your earning potential. All right, so the more expertise the deeper your expertise, the more you're considered for higher levels of promotion. The more the more cross-functional knowledge you have, the more you can, those other things. So let's say you learn data science by the side. You can be OAP by day, all right? Data analysts.
Chakam. You just give me ideas today.
Data analyst, when your shift is over, you just switch on your laptop and then you're a data analyst for the rest of the day. All right. And in this, we talked about gigs, side gigs, portfolio jobs. In this world where we live in right now, you have to double your hustle. You triple and quadruple that hustle.
I'm looking for 4 other jobs to add to the one where I get.
So in order to maintain the lifestyle and the steez we want, okay, you need to be able to juggle, and then that personal fulfillment, okay, beyond the rewards, beyond sometimes acquiring a new skill set could just be a passion. All right, you just need it to boost your confidence, and even sometimes maybe just give you a sense of purpose. So it can help you keep your career journey exciting. I remember at some point in time, I was like a learning junkie. I had acquired several local and international HR certifications. I was pursuing a master's in HR, and I was getting bored. I'll go, even in fact, at some point in time, I went for some trainings, and I will be arguing with the facilitator because I'm like, okay, there was almost not much to learn in HR. So at that point in time, in order to keep my mind active, I started doing acquiring cross-functional competencies. I did project management, I did business analysis, I went into data science, data analytics. I just started learning. I started doing management courses. I started an MBA, just learning different new things, okay, to keep my mind sharp, to keep me excited and passionate about, even my current career. So yeah, that paid off, and I think that personal fulfillment spurred me on.
I really do hope that today you've learned that you need to update yourself. Don't think that you know it all. Don't think that you're a professional. Even the most intelligent people are still learning new skills. Go out there today and make sure you shine. This is Base 101.1 FM. My name is Chacha. In all final thoughts, Almighty Patrick Amore. What are your final thoughts and conclusion, and you like to share to people who need to just jazz themselves up and shake body and move on and create great things for themselves in career path?
So, final thoughts of mine will be lifelong learning is the new career insurance. Okay. The future belongs to the learners. Somebody said, "Oh, AI is out there. AI is taking over jobs." And I'll say this: you shouldn't be afraid of losing your job to AI. You should be afraid of losing your job to the person who knows how to use AI.
Come on.
Yeah. So upskilling and reskilling is no longer just it's not just about survival. It's about thriving. Okay. You want to thrive, then you must continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
You're listening to Career Compass with Patrick and Cha Cha on Base 101.1 FM.